Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier. Just want to get you a more in-depth update on exactly what we're expecting as this cold front pushes into the region throughout the day tomorrow, bringing in those crazy high winds that, yeah, you love them, you hate them, we got to deal with them, but that's what I'm here for. So let's break it down pretty simply. Right now, we have very warm conditions. Temperature is getting into those upper 70s, lower 80s throughout much of your Monday and much of your Tuesday. As a result of that, you got increasing winds, and we're at single-digit humidity values. Yeah, we're looking at a big-time kind of fire risk. But let's start off with the winds. Right now, we have a lot of these high wind warnings out in those high elevations. Artesia, Carlsbad, down to Pecos, Fort Davis, and Alpine. But what exactly is the difference between that high wind warning and that wind advisory? Well, I'll actually tell you guys, because most of this stuff, as I go ahead and really play it through, not seeing a whole lot of differences here. Essentially, what you need to know is this. High wind warnings mean we're usually looking at wind gusts up to about 60 miles an hour, possibly even 70. The wind advisories are going to mean more along the lines of, hey, you're going to see those wind gusts closer toward a little bit of about 50 miles an hour or so. Those are just going to be the gusts. Sustained winds are going to be far lower than that. I'm looking at sustained winds between 20 to maybe 40 miles an hour. And then the gusts, that's what really knocks your car to the side. You definitely want to make sure that you got the double hands on the wheel. Don't Matthew McConaughey the car, because those winds, you're going to be all over the road. I don't want you guys to be going through that. So here's what I do have really pushing your way in toward the next couple of days. Increased fire risk. Yesterday we were all under that fire weather watch. No surprise, it was decently warm. You had a light breeze, but still very dry. Today it's been extended into not just the day, but expanded into a red flag warning, given the fact that we just have a lot of fuel right now. We haven't really had much of a growing season, so much of the plants that we have around town are going to be relatively dormant. There's no significant rainfall. The only amount of rain that we've had was about 1/10 of an inch of ice in January. That's it. We haven't had any rain all year, at least at the Midland International Airport. A couple places might be seeing a few sprinkles here and there throughout the year, but so far it's still very dry. And then you throw in any kind of winds, even something like as quick as a spark from a lit cigarette that you just toss on the ground could light up the entire parking lot. That's the last thing I want to see. Last thing that we should be going through too, given that we already have to deal with a lot of this blowing dust in the first place. And the unfortunate part is we're going to continue seeing conditions just like this. We're not actually seeing any significant cloud cover or rain chances with each incoming front, which is unfortunate. It's that time of year. It's springtime. It's getting close to it. It's not officially spring just yet, but we need to see some rain with these fronts before we can start to see any kind of reduction in high wind warnings, red flag warnings, and even any kind of big dust storms. We need rain, help tamp everything down, and then we'll be good to go. Starting off tonight, you're not going to notice this front moving through tonight, not at all. As a matter of fact, we're going to be just slightly above average. Makes sense considering, well, much of today was above average, about 10 degrees above average. Average high for, what is today, March 11th? March 11th is about 70 degrees, 70 to 71 degrees. So we're around 80, 81 degrees. Yeah, a little warmer day, a little warmer night. Not too far off here. I want you guys to focus on this driving forecast. Unfortunately, we have to run a number of stories about highways getting shut down. I understand the highways getting shut down. The last thing I want is to see a number of people involved in accidents because of low visibility, you're going too fast, or you just can't see. If it happens when you're stuck in a dust storm and you can't see, pull off to the side of the road. And I know, as weird as this sounds, but this is what the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recommends. They say, pull off to the side of the road, turn off your headlights. Don't turn on your blinkers, don't turn on your hazard lights, your park anywhere lights. Don't do that, because other people will mistake it as, hey, look, here's a car, let me follow them. If you are off to the side of the road and no one can, you're not visible, no one's really going to be hitting you in the first place. Just wait until it blows over, wait until it's safe, and you're good to go. A lot of us out here, we drive big trucks, big SUVs. You got to do a lot of traveling. They're more prone to these really strong winds versus if you were in like a small compact car or even a sedan that's lower to the ground. You're not going to have the winds hitting, the side of your truck or your van so much. So that's ideally what you want. I put gusty for tomorrow morning. In all reality, those wind gusts aren't going to be picking up until after about 9 a.m. So if you have that early morning commute, that's honestly, you're in the best case scenario. I do want you to hold off a little bit, or maybe impress the boss. Just be like, hey, I'm working late today. It's because you want to avoid all the traffic from that blowing dust. Just give me a little credit for that if you do that. So, yeah, blowing dust into the afternoon and evening. It should calm down by the overnight hours. It's all just going to be temporary from this front itself as the front pushes through. But at least temperature-wise, something seems a little bit off here because we're talking about a cold front and then temperatures are only 76. Something isn't right here. Well, this cold front, it doesn't deserve the designation of cold front. It's coming in from the west. Most of the fronts that bring in cool air need to come in from the north, bringing in that Arctic air from Canada. That's not going to be the case. This stuff is bringing in just the warm and the dry air from New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona. What's that going to do? Nothing for our temperatures. That's why we're only dropping 5 degrees for tomorrow. So I want to break down this future track for you guys. I'll even slow it down. Because overnight tonight, not looking at anything, nothing going on, nothing crazy. We get into tomorrow morning, 6, 7 o'clock, you start to see that cold front popping in. And you start to see a little bit of precipitation. Just to the west of Artesia, you start to notice a little bit of mixed precipitation, maybe even some snowfall. That's actually going to be mountains, of course. That's not going to be, down on the ground. We're far too late in the year to see any kind of significant snowfall. But you even see a little bit of a spotty shower trying to push its way into Guadalupe Pass, into Carlsbad. Unfortunately, we're going to miss out on all of that. We might see a passing cloud here and there, but this front, it just boogies right on through. We don't really see it at all. Winds pick up drastically as a result. And unfortunately, it's going to be hitting during the peak of your lunch hour. So maybe pack a lunch and bring it to work rather than going out for lunch. It's not going to be really easy to drive around in conditions like this. And if you have leftovers, well, you don't want your doggy bag just flying out and landing in some stranger's face. They're not going to like that either, especially a sandy burger. Ugh. So as that system pushes out, by 10 o'clock, look at that, the winds are relatively calm. We don't have to worry about it too much anymore. So then let's push it forward throughout your Thursday. Thursday, winds, not much of an issue. But because winds aren't much of an issue and we're already going to be a bit cooler, moisture is going to easily pull itself back into the region, leaving us with some partly cloudy skies. Now, I have nothing against cloud cover. My only concern is that actually Thursday night, we have the lunar eclipse. You kind of want to see the blood moon. But when you have cloud cover kind of blocking the way, not so much the case. We do start to see winds pick up a little bit by the late evening. If it clears out the cloud cover, great, we can see the lunar eclipse just fine. So then let's actually go ahead and push it forward into what we're looking at in terms of these wind totals and how strong they're going to be. I'll slow it down once more. Starting off your Wednesday morning, 15, 25 miles an hour. Oh, that's nothing. Okay, let's push it along a little bit more. By 10 o'clock, you start to notice some of those stronger winds, about 30, 35 miles an hour across the Permian Basin, the Trans-Pecos, southeastern New Mexico. Those gusts themselves, yeah, certainly picking up just a tad. Then we get into about your lunch hour. Already 40, 45 miles an hour. Snyder up to 50 miles an hour. It's going to stay that way throughout much of the afternoon too. Look at this, 2 o'clock, 50 miles an hour out of Odessa, 54 in Carlsbad. Let's push it forward a little bit more, 3 o'clock. Okay, calming down a little bit. Maybe 5, 5:30, 6. Okay, 30 miles an hour, 7, 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock, that's when we start to see that nice wind down. So if you work a late shift like we do here at the station, then you know what, you should be good to go. But that's the biggest thing. It's hitting in the peak middle of the day. So if you work a midday shift, wind is not going to be your true friend. I do want to make sure that you guys understand much of the stuff goes away by Thursday. But I don't want you to get your hopes up because it's expected to come back again come Friday. This is actually going to be from another frontal system. Yeah, we're actually looking more at that 7-day forecast now. Why do I have weather impact alert for your Friday? Well, it's another cold front, and this cold front does deserve that designation. You see that drop going from 81 to 64, so about a 20-degree drop. That's a strong cold front. Now, a lot of my models, unfortunately, at least built into the computer, don't go super far out, or at least if they do, they're not very accurate. So I'm going to hold off at least until tomorrow to show you guys that for Friday. But expect damaging winds. We're looking 55 to 65 miles an hour across the Permian Basin. Make sure you're bringing in any outdoor items, maybe like some plants, maybe see if you can weigh down your trampoline too. Don't get me wrong, some of those ring videos that you guys send us of the flying trampolines, hilarious until it hurts someone or until you realize how much a trampoline costs. Yeah, they're not cheap, especially the insurance on it too. So keep that in mind. Just make sure you guys are staying safe out there. Unfortunately, I had to go ahead and ruin your weekend. It's going to be a little bit chilly. We could deal with some chilly temperatures, but I got strong winds throughout your Friday and Saturday. We go back into a nice steady warming trend come Monday and Tuesday, but even then, actually, give me just 1 second because I have my forecasting sheet that goes out about 9 days. And by Tuesday, yeah, 85, fantastic. By Wednesday next week, 66. Why is the wind picking up on that Tuesday? From the front that's going to drop us about 20 degrees. Honestly, that looks exactly like what we're going to be dealing with come Thursday and Friday. I get to the point where it just says windy all along the bottom here, almost every single day. It's West Texas. We're used to it. I just want to make sure that you guys are staying safe out there. And of course, I'm here to keep you informed with the latest forecasts and the latest information. Be sure to stay tuned and stay weather impact alert and weather aware.